Hi all. Boom. Boom. Yay. I think I'm streaming. Anybody out there still? Ay, ay, ay. Sorry about that, everybody. What a mess. What a messity mess. So let me see what's happening now. What's happening now? Am I streaming now? Is it actually working? Home. Well, that's not doing anything. I'm streaming. Yay! Hola, Thomas. Wow. Sorry, I got all messed up. Yes, okay, thank you. And you're on Facebook. Good. Okay, so now let me see if I can just find myself on Facebook here. Let's see. Here. There. Not there. Streaming. Good. All right. Thank you. I screwed everything up when I went to do all this. Sorry about that, everyone. But I'm here now, ish, and I'm just looking to see if I can find myself streaming so I could share this and let people know that I'm here. Yeah, you're back. I see you. And Lefty the Frog. Yes. I don't see myself on Facebook though. Let's see. I just want to see if I could find myself so I can invite people. There I am. Well, I'll be a son of a Glaven. All right. Now let's see. Share to a group. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna share. Just bear with me just for a few seconds, everyone. So sorry. I know this is like so lame, but trying to invite some people here, especially because I blew everything up, and now I'm gonna fix everything up. So I hope you guys are doing good today, and if you're anywhere in the United States, I know that it's been a disaster weather-wise, and we're expecting more snow tomorrow, which is crazy. We've had so much, and yeah, but you know, it is winter. Let's see, a couple more groups here. Bam. There. Guitar Nerds, I love that group. Let's see. There. 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 A couple more. Let's see what else we got here. We have that. Man, I belong to a lot of groups. There. There, and there. Almost done. There. Telecaster group? No, I don't think so. Not tonight. That. The Jazz World. There. Guitarist, phrases, Jazz Times. Making Music, that's a great site. And that's it. Ah, Beatrice, you're here. Less talking, more playing. Well, I had to invite people. You know, I want people to know I'm here. Beatrice, my sister. Yes, we meet in the strangest places, don't we? So, Beatrice is now, a distant administrator. She used to be an administrator in the music building at Purchase College, and now she's off in the main administration building, and nobody gets to see her. And I don't get to see anybody because now I am retired. 30 years in that lovely institution. and it's time for me to split. All right, so what are we doing tonight? Beatrice, what are we doing tonight? Tomas, what are we doing? Arthur, otherwise known as Lefty 54. We're taking a look at this guitar. Ooh, look at that. Bam. All right. So this is a Macaferri Gypsy style guitar. And I thought tonight would be a good night to talk about this guitar because I just got it. And I got it for a specific reason. And it just made me think all about these Gypsy style guitars. And there's such a, I don't want to say a strange bird, but I'll say a unique bird. They have a very unique sound. So they have a very, very unique sound. These were originally built by the Selmer Company, which is much better known for their saxophones that they make. And what's interesting is the original Selmer guitars. This is a Dupont. Selmer hasn't made guitars in years and years and years. But one of the one of the many interesting things about these guitars was that the necks were made out of two pieces of walnut. And Beatrice, being a classical person, you'll know that walnut is used in the manufacture of clarinets. So Selmer took the stock for the clarinet and would make the neck out of walnut. And this guitar does have, its neck is made out of walnut. And but this is a one-piece neck. And the Selmers would have literally a straight across cut over here. And then they'd put the second piece of wood on. It was really bizarre. And yeah, so the Selmer Company made that. The bodies, this top is a spruce top. Most of them are spruce top. There are some cedar tops, but usually it's spruce. And the top has a bend in it, like an arch, but it's not carved. It's not a carved arch top guitar. It's steam bent, and they call it a pliage. Pliage, a bend. And the bottom also on this guitar has a bend in it. And the bracing inside the guitar is different. That most acoustic guitars have what they call X bracing. This guitar has what they call ladder bracing, which goes straight across. And the reason for that was they were trying to make these guitars as loud as possible. And also, these guitars were originally nylon string, not steel string. And nylon string, there's much, much less tension on the neck and the body, much less pressure, because the nylon strings, just by virtue of what they're made out of, exert less force on the instrument. So ladder bracing is just a different style of bracing, and it's a bit weaker than the X bracing. And so that's another thing that lends sort of like the unique sound to this guitar. It's sort of like a nylon string bracing with steel strings. And if you look at the headstock, even the headstock looks like the nylon string guitar, the way the tuning things are, that they're not like these little posts. They're these long longitudinal posts that you wind the strings on. And so yeah, that's another sort of unique thing about these guitars. And this particular guitar has a 40-year-old aged spruce top. And so this was a special order from Dupont. Somebody had ordered this guitar with this more expensive top and nicer tuners. These tuners have ebony knobs on them, and they're gold, and they're beautiful. And so another thing about this guitar is it has a giant hole here, and it looks like the letter D for Doug. And this is what they call a D hole, or a grande bouche, big mouth. And this style originally was more for rhythm guitar. So if I had my other Gypsy guitar here, you could hear a distinct, such a difference, that this guitar has much more, I would say it has like more overall tone to it, where the petite bouche, it just has this sort of like bark. It's a bit louder, it cuts through, but the tonal quality, I don't want to say it's lacking, it's just very different. That the second I picked up this guitar, like if I had my other guitar and I played both, you would think that I somehow turned the tone off of the other guitar, where it's just this loud like honk, compared to this, which is a much sort of mellower, prettier tone. And it still has some bark though. So it has, it still has that sort of bark to it. And so this is a D hole. This is 40-year-old aged spruce, walnut neck, ebony fingerboard. And the sides and the back are rosewood. And this model is a MC-50B. And I thought the B stood for Brazilian, like this would be Brazilian rosewood. But I looked on the Dupont website, and it doesn't say that it is Brazilian. So I'm not sure where this rosewood comes from. And I don't think that it is solid. It looks like it's a ply type of rosewood. So rosewood sides and back, spruce top, giant D-hole, ladder bracing, and this distinctive, what they call a mustache bridge. And the interesting thing about the mustache bridge is that this is just for show, and this is for go, so that the bridge is really only this big. And then there are these ornamental pieces that are stuck on here. And let's see, what else can I tell you about this guitar? Probably a lot more. This has a clear pickguard, which I'm so happy it came with it. Those of you that remember my other Gypsy style guitar, I was literally wearing a hole through, I had worn through the finish, and I was wearing through the actual body, the top of the guitar, kind of like Willie Nelson. I used to say I was Willie Nelsing my guitar. And so luckily this has a plastic pickguard on it, which is clear, and it's good, really good. And just in the month that I've had it, you could see that I've just let's see, there you go. You could already see the wear on that plastic pickguard. All that wear would be going onto the body, going right through the finish. Another interesting thing about these guitars is that they're lacquered on the inside also, and that's supposed to add to the volume and the tone. And let's see what else. The necks are bizarre on these guitars. The reason why I sold my other guitar is that the scale was too long. This guitar is 640 millimeters, and that's about the smallest you're ever going to find on a true Gypsy guitar. They're usually, my other one was 670 millimeters. And so if you want to compare this is about the spacing or the size of Fender scale, which is 25 and a half. Gibson is 24 and 3/4. Fender's 25 and a half. That's about what this is. And then the other one, the 670 millimeter, is like 27 inches, sort of almost like a baritone guitar. And so what was happening was, by playing that guitar all the time, it was killing my hand, because I have a strange hand where I have like a giant palm. Well, not giant, but I have like a normal sized palm and small fingers. And so I really had to stretch to reach on the instrument. And as I'm getting older, my fingers are getting more like stiff and arthritic. So it was literally physically hurting me to play the guitar. So I could only play the guitar a few hours a week. I had to switch off and play other instruments. And so it finally got to the point where it was like really hurting my hand. And I was like, okay, that's it. Oh, Gil is here. 671. I wonder what that means. Gil, what does that mean? Oh, that's how big the guitar is, 671, 671. Ladies and gentlemen, Gil Paris. If you don't know Gil, tremendous guitar player. Oh my gosh. He's done it all, seen it all, played with everybody, has his own signature guitar. And plus he's like a super great dude and tremendous sort of, I would call like a guitar historian, like he knows like every record, who's playing on the record. And not only that, he knows all the solos from the record and can play them like you could literally go, remember that, record from 1947? And he'd be like, oh yeah, you remember the horn solo? Oh yeah, joking, hi Dougie. Dang. Yeah. So anyway, so Gil's here and, check him out, go to his website and show him some love. He's just incredible and yeah, cool dude. So my hand started, like really getting wrecked. And so it got to the point where I had to, and Gil actually hooked me up with the gentleman that is selling my Macaferri style guitar. It's a Del Arte Selmer 503 copy, handmade by John Kennard. Great. I mean, just a tremendous instrument, but was just killing me. Mr. Toratanarenya. Wow, I'll get this right. Mr. Toratanarenya. Hey, everybody. Welcome, man. That's like a nice long last name. If you play on a sports team, man, like that would like fill up the whole back of your shirt. That'd be awesome. Mine's just Munro, would just be like straight across. Yours would be like this giant like arc. It'd be cool. Welcome, my friend. So that's why I had to go down to this smaller scale. Now, in order to get this 640 millimeter length neck, what I had to give up was some of the extension on here. And if you notice, this guitar, it meets the body at the 12th fret. Most acoustic guitars meet the body at the 14th fret. So for me to reach the 15th fret, that's about, that, I'm comfortable there, but if I have to go further, it's tough. So like if I'm playing Artillery Lord, right? You go to the bridge, I can only grab that. I guess here I could grab the full chord. So I can't like here. I almost can. No, I can't. So I have to make some compensate for that. So I'm giving up a little bit, So it's a bit of a reach, up there. So that's taken a little bit of time to kind of get used to that. But it doesn't kill my hand to play this guitar, so that's good. I'm able to, I can play, 4 hours a day on here, and I'm not sort of crippled from doing it. Another thing about these guitars is the width of the neck. That these are wide, kind of like a classical guitar. So the string spacing is good. And going back to Gil Paris, his signature guitar is what they call an S shape, S for Stratocaster, and it's on Reverend guitars. It's called the GPS, Gil Paris Special. and he has a wide neck on his because he also does a lot of fingerstyle. So with this guitar with the neck being wide, it's easy to play like a lot of the Gypsy stuff, you know. So the wide spacing is great. And yes, thank you. This guitar is a beauty. And what's interesting is when I bought this guitar, I didn't know that. I always thought of Dupont guitars as sort of like the Chevy or Ford, or should I say Fender or Gibson of guitars. That it was sort of like, the go-to sort of guitar, of these days, because there are no more Selmers. So to me, Dupont was sort of like, not like a boutique guitar, but like, like a working professional's guitar. And then talking with people, they've told me that Dupont is sort of like I want to say upper echelon, but maybe it's more, I don't know what to compare it to, but I just always thought it was like the working professional's instrument. And so I was a little surprised when I heard that they're very particular, about their quality and quality control, and every little detail is super, stressed over and fixed up and perfect. And so, I mean, that's cool. I like that. I'll take that. But I didn't know it. I just thought that they were like a dependable, good guitar. Let's see. Gil says, was the spacing the same as the last one? P.S. I really enjoyed playing. Yeah, Gil was actually the last person to play my other guitar, my Del Arte. And yeah, so the width is the same. Yeah, it's just as wide, so it's comfy for me. I like the width. For me, my perfect guitar is sort of a wide, flat neck, so that it's not thick this way, but it's wide this way. The best neck I ever played on any guitar ever was a dot marker ES335 that I had way back. It wasn't a true, like 59 or 60 dot marker. It was probably a 80s dot marker, but it was fantastic. It had just the greatest neck. It was the best of every world, where it was wide spacing, so you could pick and hybrid pick with fingers and pick, and but it was fast because it was narrow, thin, this way in thickness, and wide and width. It was awesome. I wish I never got rid of that guitar. But yeah, so now that's a good question. Now, what's the action like? All right. So I don't know how close I can get. I'm going to start banging into stuff here. I'd say I would call this action medium action. But here's an interesting thing that I keep learning about these instruments, is that these were, even though they're so famous, and I don't mean any disrespect to Selmer or anything, but apparently, like these were not the easiest instruments to play. What it was they were like the loudest instruments. Before guitars were amplified, these guitars were about the loudest thing that you could get in Europe, And so that was sort of like their popularity was more than like their sound or the action or anything. It had to do with just the sheer volume that you could play and you can be heard, which was once things went electric, that changed everything. You could have super light strings, super low action. So I would say right now I would call this medium action. And I have to say, even though I've had the guitar for a month, I'm still messing around with the action. When I first got it, the bridge, for whatever reason, This is a bridge that's attached to what they call a big tone pickup, which sounds fantastic. It's really good. Again, I know the purists just want a mic, and miking is great, but sometimes it's not super practical, and so sometimes it's just easiest just to plug it in. And so when I first got this big tone bridge, it literally looked like they just like sat the bridge on it, because the top of the body is curved, but the bottom of the bridge is straight. So if you looked, you could see the ends of the bridge were sitting up because, there was no curve. So I took it to a place in Connecticut, this guy Chris, and he's at a place called Hot Rod 6 String. It's in Brookfield, Connecticut. Great cat, really good guy. I recommend him. He's, his prices are fair. His work is good. He does the work. He also has a apprentice guy who's super chill and great, and I trust him. And so he filed this down for me and set up the guitar. And I think that the strings that were on here before, like these are 11s. And I think that actually these strings might be a little too heavy, believe it or not. Because for that real wobbly gypsy vibrato and just the whole vibe, I think that I might go down to 10s. I'm not positive, but I think that whoever had this I've never heard of a higher gypsy string than 11, but they literally felt harder than what I have on here now. So long story short, when I got the guitar back, about a week later, the neck started going back, and I was like, what is going on? And I think it was because the other strings were heavier, and when I put lighter strings on, it was pulling the neck back. So I was like, oh, not a big deal. I'll just adjust the neck. Well, what an ordeal, because to adjust the neck, you have to go through and beyond a ladder bracing. So I can see that there's a hole drilled in the ladder bracing, and I guess that this guitar comes with a special neck adjustment tool. It's just an Allen key, but I'm sure it's like a super long one that you could fit through that hole and then into the slot. Well, when I got this guitar, I bought it used. It was built in 2017, and it came with this funny Allen key thing that had this long extender, except the Allen key was not the right size for the hole in the neck for the adjustment. So after like an hour of like killing my hand, I realized that this thing was not going to fit in there. So I went and found an Allen key the right size, and then I had to stick my hand, which is good. I mean, thank God this is a large hole. Had to go in underneath the bracing, and it took me literally 10 minutes to just get it into the slot. So I've been adjusting it. I actually just did another adjustment today and pulled the neck actually back. I went too far forward, and so I'm super fussy, with the action. Especially as I get older. Again, as I get older, and it's more challenging for me to play. I mean, I was never a great technician, but I had some technique, and so I'm just trying to just make it as easy on myself as I can. Beatrice, great to see you, friend. Thanks for the fabulous geek talk. I have to run. Beatrice, you didn't know what you were getting yourself in for, but check it out. Saturday night, come back, and I'm going to be playing. You remember Ted Sagan? He came and got his master's at the college. Crazy Ted. He's going to come and play. He's one of the biggest rhythm guitar players in the gypsy world. He's probably top 10 guy, and he's going to come out and play. Yeah. So thanks, Beatrice. Tom is here. Yay, Tom. All right. And Tom's another guy that you should follow. You do some great, awesome postings on Facebook. And yeah. And so Mr. Tora Tana Renya, yeah, action is the key. I mean, it's so important. And again, Beatrice says, thank you. See you in 10 on Saturday. Great. Okay. Thanks, Beatrice. God bless. All right. You're an awesome technician. I don't know, man. Gil's here. Gil and I should do, Maybe I could talk Gil into coming up one night. That'd be great to get Gil up here on a Saturday. Oh, call me Manuel. Very good. Thank you, Manuel. Thank you. So happy to have you here, man. And yeah, so maybe I can get Gil to come up and do one of the Saturday nights. Would be hysterical. I would just sit there and just let him go nuts, you know. But we'll see. Maybe I could talk him into it. So getting back to the action, yeah. So I'm going back and forth on this all the time, and trying to get it to work. And again, when it went back too far, what happened was, Gil wants a town car to come up to my house. That's right, you know, because you know what's really crazy is when I do these Saturday nights. These guys drive up from like the city and points far away. I live in upstate New York, and so yeah. But you know, we try and give them some perks. But yeah, it's it would be a haul. Yeah, it would probably be like probably less than an hour. But it would be great to get you up here one night. Would be great, Gil. But I totally understand. So, yeah, so when I pulled the neck back, the really scary thing was all of a sudden I was getting like some dead notes, and then I went over here and every single note was dead. It was just like plank, 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 plank. I was like, what have I done? And so, yeah, so now it's coming in. Oh, another thing about this guitar that is different is it has a 0 fret. Oh, see that? So you have the nut, and then you have a 0 fret. And yeah, so that's another sort of unique feature about these guitars is the 0 fret. Another thing I want to talk to you about is the dots, because that's another thing that I had Chris do for me at Hot Rod 6-string. Now, if you look at the front of the guitar, this has what they call American dots, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 12. But on the side of the guitar when I got it, it had 3, 5, 7, 10. That's European dots, where they have the 10 over there. So it was really distracting that I had the dot over here and the dot over there. And so when I took it to Chris, I said, Chris, can you like take the dot out there, put the dot there? And he said yes. Then another thing I had him do was at the 12th fret, there was just one dot at the 12th fret, which is sort of weird. And so I had him put 2 extra dots, you know, on one on each side, so I could really see that's the 12th fret. Then I think that there was a dot only at the 17th fret, and I had him put one at the 15th, and then I also had him put side dots on the 15th and 17th, so that when I'm holding the guitar, because usually when you play, you can't see the actual, you know, front of the guitar. You know, you can't see the fretboard. You're looking at the side, and you can see the dots to help you orient yourself to where you are. And Manuel said, what does 0 fret mean? So 0 fret means that there's many guitars that don't have a fret here. They just have the nut, and then this is the 1st fret. So literally, like if you're playing guitar, you would say, you know, put your finger on the 1st string in the 1st fret. I mean, put your 1st finger on the 1st string in the 1st fret. Right? So this fret is known as a 0 fret, because most guitars, or a lot of guitars, don't have it. So 0 fret, that's what that means. 0 fret. So when you are, you know, messing around with your guitar, you know, well, I'd be interested, how many people that are watching, do they basically set up their own guitar? And I don't mean like doing, you know, big things, but just say like, change your own strings, you know, set the neck, you know, adjust the neck. If you have a tunable bridge, you know, do you set your intonation? You know, because you can set your intonation. Let's see, does it make any practical difference? That's a good question, Manuel. And honestly, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer if the 0 fret is a huge difference thing. And I would say the only thing I could think of is that I mean, again, I'm riffing. I would think you might get a little bit more sustain or volume on the open notes, and that the open notes should sound exactly like the fretted notes, because your fretted notes are coming behind a fret. And now if you have the 0 fret, even your open strings are coming behind a fret. So I think that to me, it would make your open strings sound exactly the same as your fretted strings. So in that way, I think it's kind of cool. Let's see, Tom said, all I do, change strings. Okay. You know, I think that I got into like working on my own guitars because, again, when I started playing, I wasn't that young when I started playing, but still, it was a long time ago. And I worked, let's see, I changed the strings and set up the neck. Good, yeah, that's excellent. The more stuff that you could do yourself on the guitar, I think, the better. Because again, you know, we're so, at least I am, I'm like so fussy, you know, I want everything a certain way, you know. And again, going back to Gil's guitar, his his signature guitar that he has, the GPS Gil Paris signature, he had very specific things that he wanted them to do. Oh, Steve. That's okay. I mean, did you check out Lefty 53? That's Arthur. You know, so like, yeah, everybody, you know, not everybody, but a lot of people have, you know, sort of, you know, interesting names for their accounts. But what was I saying now? Oh, about, you know, setting up, you know, your own thing. On Gil's guitar, you know, he wanted a specific width on the neck. He wanted a specific body type. He liked the S-type bodies. And he went really into depth on the pickups, and there's a boost on one of the tone controls, and he wanted to have 2 tone controls and a certain kind of vibrato. And the pickups are active pickups, which used to mean that you gotta like change the battery. And his guitar, where you plug the guitar in, there is a mini USB port going out, and so you literally charge your guitar, you know. And apparently, I saw a video on it today, and the guy said that if every time you change your strings you charge your guitar, you're cool, you know. And I was like, wow. So yeah, so we're really particular about what our instruments can do or can't do, you know. It's just super important, especially again, you know, if you're playing, there you go. Gil Power said 250 hours per charge. That's unbelievable. So Gil, you got to charge yours every week. Oh, Gil plays a lot of guitar. I thought I played a lot of guitar, but he's always put me to shame with the amount of time he spends with the instrument. It's incredible. So yeah, you're spending a lot of time with your instrument. And you know, you want it to be as enjoyable and easy as possible, you know. And another thing, you know, thinking about action and this and that, it's such a balancing act, you know, because what you really want, your goal, I think, would be to have sort of like good action all up and down the neck. So and also good tone, you know, not especially, but you know, this being an acoustic instrument, you know, a lot of times I'm playing it and I'm just using, you know, like say like this microphone here, this is a large diaphragm condenser mic, all right? And so this sounds great, you know, through here. So if I'm in a situation where I can get away with just using this, man, you know I'm going to use that because it's going to be just the best sounding thing ever. And so you don't want it to be that your strings are like, you know, planky and laying on the frets, or your action is so deep that like when you go to grab chords, you're just having, it's just work, you know. And again, the more work for me, the more tired my hand gets. The higher the action and the more I gotta like, you know, to get anything out, the more tired I'm gonna, you know, and more in pain I'm gonna get. So I have to be careful of that. So my dream always is that the guitar sounds the same everywhere. So you see that? And that's what they call, when they say, oh, it's even, it plays even all across the neck. It sings everywhere. There's nowhere, or at least you're trying to make it so there's nowhere on the neck that the guitar doesn't sing or sound as good as it does in other places. You know, there's so many people that you check out their instrument, sounds great here. Then you get up here, and up here, it's not singing up there. You know, so you want it to be nice. You want it to, you know, sound good all over. So that's when they say that, you know, the guitar plays evenly or sounds even. That you just want it to be good everywhere. So that if I'm hitting chords up here, you could hear that it speaks. It's not muted or muffled or dying out. So yeah, you know, Richie Steele, Las Vegas in the house. Richie, see Gil Paris is here. You remember Gil, Richie Steele, good friend of mine, Chuck St. Troy, out there with Richie. Richie, did you go out to Las Vegas with Chuck years ago? Richie's from around here, and another great friend of ours, great saxophone player, singer, just like one of the best human beings on the planet. This cat, Chuck St. Troy. You can check him on Facebook too. He does like a video every day. Calls it like From the Bunker, you know? Yeah, Gil Paris is like, yes. Wow, Richie went out in 2005. Man. Yeah, out in Las Vegas. That's cool. That's so awesome. And Richie's one of these guys that, like, he looks the same, like, he never changes. It's unbelievable. I'm like a dried up prune. What were those? There was like these grapes. And they were like these claymation grapes. I can't remember what they were called. Oh, I have one. Check it out. Todd Coolman gave me this. Remember these guys? Oh, it's not going to focus on it because it's not by my face. There you go. Whoop. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Richie. Richie said I sound great. What the hell are these grapes? I can't remember what they were for. Some commercial. Anyway, Todd Coolman gave me this. Also, you know, Todd Coolman is the one that gave me Mr. Frogsworth over here, our mascot. You know, he was the man that did that. So, Richie, you work on your own guitar? You got quite a collection of instruments. Richie's another full-time player. And like a lot of players from my generation, he's also a composer, you know, like, you know, a very rounded musician, covers a lot of styles, you know, is great in sort of like almost any musical situation. And I'm just wondering, you know, Richie, we were talking about, you know, just setting up our instruments. This is a new guitar for me. And so I was talking about, you know, just the stuff that I've been going through, trying to get it to happen. So yeah, so this guitar to me is just good. That's it. Yeah, that's what song is that? That is oh, Swing Gitan. Yes, set up the way you would work in progress, studied club dates. Think there's some type stuff in there. I don't understand. Yes, set up the way you would work in progress, studied club dates. Oh, okay, I see. He says he's a work in progress, studied club dates. Yeah. I think that's all where we all learn. The California Raisins. Yes, Steve. Yes. Steve Becker, you are correct. They were the California Raisins. That's what I look like now. I look like a California... Notice the resemblance? Yeah, the California Raisins. That's what I was talking about with Richie. Because Richie, he looks exactly the same as he did 30 years ago. I don't know how he does it. Some people do that. Gil, too. Gil looks like he's 12. It's unbelievable. But I always tell everybody, mine's all city miles. That's why I look this way. Yeah, so... yeah. So I don't really know what else to say about this. Richie still, Gil is cute. Yes, he is. He is a little cutie patootie. Yeah, he's a good dude. Anybody want to talk about their guitar before we go? Or something, any question? Let's see. Question here. Do you think that playing Gypsy style is quite different to playing jazz? Well, Gypsy is, Gypsy falls under that heading of jazz, and Gypsy is swing style. And so what that means, although, Gypsy did go up into bebop, and obviously the new generation of Gypsy players are all influenced by bebop and beyond bebop. So I would say there are idiomatic things to Gypsy, just like there are idiomatic things to bebop, or swing, or fusion. So yeah, there's a language of jazz for Gypsy. There's just certain things. There's tons of arpeggios, a lot of minor six stuff. That's a very common. Let me see. Well, say what's the name of the song? Coquette. Stokolo Rosenberg's solo. Diminished. Minor pentatonic to the chord. What they would consider some kind of like blues thing. Minor to major. Minor, major. Pentatonic. Bridge. Getting to the 4 chord. Now the dominant 2. You know, so. So yeah, there's a language, you know, there's sort of like a dialect of jazz, I guess you'd say, you know. All right, Gil, see you, brother. All right, Richie, thanks for hanging out. Thanks, Cats. Thanks, Tom. Just learning about these Gypsy style instruments, Gliz. You have the invisible pick guard. You don't need another trigger. Yeah, I know. I was blasting a hole through that, you know, my other guitar. So I guess I'm going to wrap it up tonight, guys. And I just want to thank you all, especially because of the rough start I had tonight. I totally blew it. You know, I don't have a tech that I work with. It's just me. And so, so you know, I do what I do. And I screwed something up with this code that you have to copy over. A stream key. I messed up. But anyway, thank you all for watching. And this Saturday, it's going to be myself and the great Ted Gottsagen, like I said before, an unbelievable rhythm guitar player. I mean, he's a great soloist too, but you'll hear it when he plays rhythm. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like a train hitting the train tracks. And Manuel, thank you. Thanks, everybody. And if you do, if you're new, if you haven't, you know, been here before, I think we had a couple of new people. Please don't forget to subscribe up there and ring the bell. You know, so that this way I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers, and I've had a good run, and I'm like stuck at like, you know, 1,500. So that would be great. Thanks, Arthur. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and go to my channel and check out there. And if you feel like it, you could drop a couple of bucks in the tip jar for tonight. Whatever, you know, I'm good, you know, and I'm just glad to share my love of guitars with you. All right, so everybody have a great night. Peace to you all, and we'll see you Saturday night. I hope Saturday.